Hello, all. Good evening. Welcome to the 23rd episode of Ask Me Anything, brought to you by TLR Now.
Check. Sanjeev, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can. Is it fine? Working now? Can you hear me? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
But I can't hear you. Check.
Check.
Yeah.
Am I audible now? Am I audible now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. But I think there is some issue. I think your frame is frozen right now, Ravi. I can't see you. But
Uh,
can you hear me now? Abhi, theek hai?
yes. Yes. Perfect.
Great. Okay. So can we start?
Sure.
Great. Hello, guys. Welcome to the 23rd episode of Ask Me Anything, brought to you by Taylor Now. We are a passionate group of trainers, coaches, and mentors. Today, in fact, we'll be speaking about something that is uh, right. Right. Uh, Not sure if if you can hear me. I'm having some issues again. Am I audible? Am I visible?
Yes.
Okay. Strange because I can't see the thing move. Uh, so I was just, you know, we were just thinking about how we can answer this question about, when the world opens up, how do we travel and where does it get us, right? So because everything that we do, travel is so close to us. Uh, and it is my pleasure today to be speaking to Mr. Ravi Ranjan Chaudhary. Hello, Ravi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
So just to give you a brief introduction about who Ravi is a passionate tourism player. He's got around 18 years of experience overall. He's been a stalwart in the fintech industry also. Uh, but I think one line that he specifically asked me to speak about while introducing himself was that he is an eternal student. So Ravi, why eternal student? I have to ask you this at the outset itself. So why eternal student?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Sanjeev. What I believe from the core of my heart is that the growth of a man is till the day he is studying or he is still adding knowledge to his or adding value of knowledge to his repository. So that's the reason I believe that we all, why only me, all of us should be eternal students at all times, ready to look at new things. And there are nature has its ways to kind of work on that also. Today we are on a topic which is post corona, how tourism works. So corona itself is teaching, there is a lot of immense knowledge or immense learning which is coming out of what happens post corona, or what is happening during corona. So
Right.
that probably is a good testament of what I'm trying to say, that learning is continuous till the time you're alive. You're learning, or rather till the time you're learning, you're alive. Once you stop learning, I see that life goes away from a man.
Absolutely. I mean, that is wonderful that you touch upon this point of learning all through. I see, that you've got quite a bit of miles already clocked, right? And your journey has been very interesting. And I know from a personal perspective, because we have interacted earlier. Uh, just let us know, tell us more about your journey, Ravi. We would love to know who we are speaking to today, and the facts that that the journey that you've gone through has been just amazing. So can you just take me through your the journey thus far?
Excellent. I think that's the most favorite part of me talking. Uh, I like to take a lot of pride in the fact that my dad served Indian Air Force, and that's where the journey began. The advantage of being in that overall defense atmosphere is that there is a lot of cross-cultural interaction which happens, and that gives you, a very outward-looking idea. So I started from there. My dad had a transferable job, so I kept, transferring or rather traveling along with my dad and shifting bases as I studied. So I have studied in Bangalore, Nagpur, Allahabad, Chandigarh, and finally in Shimla. So that's like from south to the entire north. I did thanks to my dad.
Right.
I have, in education, I have done a bachelor's degree in arts, which is having major subjects as mathematics, statistics, and economics. And post that, I went on to do a master's degree in tourism management.
Oh,
Uh, After tourism management, I have taken a few stints in specific companies in travel industry. I worked with one of the largest conglomerates, also called TUI. I moved on to work with Make My Trip, and then the entrepreneurial bug bit me. So someday it has to bite everyone. Is my uh, that's how I hope for everyone, that everyone should be an
absolutely.
entrepreneur someday. So the entrepreneurial bug bit me, and we got into a couple of enterprises. Touchwood, they are very successfully running, and we are very proud of both the enterprises which we started. My journey also took me to a lot of different places, and I was, I could say, fortunate to land up in, one of the large banking institutions of India. So I started in the banking. Also, I started as the head of travel and tourism business, and then moved on to take over the alliances and corporate cross sell. So the interesting part is
Right.
that I never left tourism from the day one till today. And apart from the fact that, yeah, I have some basic knowledge on how the threadbares are, I keep updating myself to ensure that I'm always current on that. So that's how the journey is. I am a part of a fintech, you know, story of the bank. This has been for the last
Right.
3 years. I actively involved in the startup business, and there is a product called Yes Head Startup, which I'm spearheading also along with the other things. So it's an interesting story, a lot. But the crux of the story is that, uh, you know, I kept getting opportunities, and I kept grabbing onto them to see in the quest of learning more. That's how I'd like to put it.
Absolutely, and that I think goes along with your motto of being an eternal, student. Very interesting career choice, Ravi. I think you graduated maybe 20 years back, is what I know, right? And you told me right now that you picked up tourism management as a subject back then. How, मतलब घर पे तो बहुत लोगों को convince करना पड़ा होगा आपको. How, tell us something about why tourism management, what drove you, and how it's been taking that course.
So it's an interesting story. Thanks you brought it up. It's really kind of, it gives me a lot of pleasure every time I talk about it. So I, like my father, wanted to get into defense services, and I was aiming for Indian Military Academy.
Right.
And sometimes as a child or as a youth, you have those things fixated in your head. So I was almost like, this is the only thing which I'm going to do, and till such time I reach there, I have to do a couple of other things so that at least I keep engaged in education. So that is how I chose this master's degree in tourism, because I
Very good.
wanted to graduate and become one of the defense personnel, and I chose Indian Army, but Indian Army rejected me a couple of times actually,
Right.
and tourism embraced me from both hands. So I thought probably this is what is in for me. And I think rest is history. The kind of exposure it gave, the number of countries we traveled, the kind of people we met, and you know very enriching experiences which happen when you travel. You yourself are a passionate traveler, so I don't have
Yeah.
to actually tell you what happens when you shift even from one city to another and kind of try to see it. So I believe that was the part of the journey where it happened by accident, but I love it a lot now.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Interesting point because it reminded me of one of my favorite quotes related to travel, which is travel. It leaves you speechless and turns you into a storyteller. Exactly what you said, right? I mean, there's immense amount of stories that we gather while we are traveling. The entire scope, like you rightly said, even I do a lot of traveling around. It's been as something that we both are so passionate about. Like, I really have to ask you this: what is in store for the future of travel and tourism in India?
Well, future. I mean, travel was the first $1 trillion industry for all the viewers of ours who may not even know that. So, I think it's a very large enterprise. Worldwide, if I would say, it gives livelihood to more than 11% of the world's population. So it's a very large enterprise or very large setup in itself, and I don't see any major impact happening in the long run. But yes, in short term or medium term, I see some real opportunities and real challenges which are coming. Let us put it in this way: it's like a speed breaker which has come. Whenever you are driving and there's a speed breaker which comes, what you have to do is slow down to the minimum speed, cross the breaker gently, and then once you are past it, you can then accelerate again and go to your normal speed back again. So that is how I look at it. Future for tourism is very bright. I don't see a reason why tourism will not be booming in 3 years and 5 years and 10 years later. It will be like again the biggest thing which is going to be, because mankind is has a quest, and this tourism fulfills that quest to a large extent. So I see a very bright future for tourism. uh, for talking about how it is going to impact us in the current scenario, tourism will open in the phases. I don't know if you remember, when we were kids, we used to go to our nani and dadi, or that was like whenever you have a summer holiday, you have to go to your relatives, friends, or something like that. So imagine those days. I think we have been taken back to those days, and very soon you will see, when the thing starts opening up, the first place you will go is to your relatives, or the trusted people where you know that at least you are safe enough. So that's how tourism will start. The second thing which will happen is the kind of weekend getaways, the things which are very very near to you, they are not very far. People would love to use their own vehicles, probably their cars. Bikers would have their fair share of time then, because they would not have been on the riding front for a long period of time, so they would love to do that. The idea is that people would avoid a very mass mode of travel, and they would like to be, uh, for the time being, they would like it to be a little more private. Once the things start settling down, you will see a trend where domestic travel will have a boom. And I'm telling you, domestic travel will have a boom because international travel will still be a long shot, and there will be a
Yeah,
lot of opportunity which is available in India. I think our Prime Minister said from the Red Fort last year in 15th August that every Indian should at least visit 5 destinations by 2023. I believe now Indians will have 10 destinations by 2023. So that's how I look at it, and it will be really an eye opener for Indians, because we are sometimes because of social media, sometimes because of peer group, we want to go and venture out everywhere in the world, but our own dear country. And that's why this will be a great opportunity for Indians to see India domestically and explore a lot of things which they would have heard of but never seen. So that's the phase which we will have then. The next phase I see is a short haul destinations, like
right.
anything which is in the flying distance of 4 to 6 hours, because that will still be considered not very far away from home, and the in case of an emergency, you can come back as fast as possible. So that is how it is going to unfold, and probably I think the timeline which I'm looking at, by then we would have got either a cure or a vaccine, and once that is available, I think we will see again the tourism coming back to its own old glory which it had, and then we can see that more and more people will be traveling across the world. They will take long haul destinations, they will take destinations of their choice more than destinations which are recommended or preferred because of the safety and kind of security.
Right,
Also,
right,
what you would see in the beginning is people would like to go to more secluded destinations. More mass tourism was the fashion earlier, but you will see that for some time in future, there will be more private tourism. Where I don't want to go to masses, but still want to have some exposure, see some destinations,
right.
have some experience of local food and cuisine and stuff like that. So I believe that is how tourism will be. Anybody in tourism, either is a seller or a buyer, a consumer or a passionate, investor. Nobody needs to worry about it. I believe this has a very very bright future, like any other industry, or brighter than that. Just a small speed breaker has come. You have to tread carefully. On a speed breaker, you can't go at a very high speed. That's all is needed right now. Be careful today, and you can travel a lot tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I think as people are now moving to the uh, unlock phase, right, from the
Yes.
lockdown, I think that word unlock itself has a psychological effect, anyways. And it is, for one, I'm really looking forward to just take my motorcycle and just go out as soon as possible. Now, literally, बदला लेने की सोच रहा हूँ मैं कि मुझे इतने दिन आपने कैद करके रखा है, so I just want to go out, right? These, I'm very sure a lot of people are having this sort of mentality right now where they are looking at how soon can I just go out and pick that travel itinerary that I had in my mind.
So your question is, how soon can you travel?
No, so I was just saying that, it's like me. There are a lot of people who are going to just look at travel as something that is going to come out very soon, and they're just raring to go out. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि मुझे कैद करके रखा है, मुझे बदला लेना है कि मुझे कैद करके क्यों रखा है, अभी मुझे जाना है बाहर.
So मैं आपको एक चीज बताना चाहूंगा. There are a couple of new terms which have been coined in tourism industry. One of them is called the revenge tourism. So आपकी भावनाएं सिर्फ आपकी नहीं है. There are a lot of people on this planet who are actually thinking exactly like you.
I'm
You
sure,
know,
I'm sure.
mankind is designed in this fashion that anything, for a kid, if you deprive him of chocolates, he would like to take as many as possible when he gets the first go at it. Similarly, when you're holding everyone to travel out of their homes currently, the moment they get an opportunity, I think more and more people will travel, and this is a term called revenge tourism. So yeah, something
Oh,
very different. When I heard for the first time, I was like, wow, can this even be named, or is this even legal to say so? But yeah,
yes.
that's how the things are going to be.
Very, very interesting. I mean, very interesting. I didn't know that. इसके ऊपर there is in fact a term that is already being coined. Uh, it's just yes, the emotion is there, right? That we want to go out, and like you said, there is an amount of a new brand or a new way of thinking in terms of revenge tourism also that is coming up. But what would you want to tell our viewers? फुल पे ही भाग जाओ और स्पीड ब्रेकर तो आपने पार कर लिया बट उसमें भी after you have gone through the speed breaker, is it wise to just then move out as soon as possible, or just hold back and see, take certain steps so that you can move further in a better way?
See, ideally, what you're asking is I have to do a doctor's job right now. I believe we should restrain ourselves for some more time,
Right.
because every challenge or every impediment which is there will pass. The idea is which one breaks first, you or the challenge. If you take it
So
as,
true.
I don't know, anybody plays Candy Crush?
Oh,
on a
yeah.
particular level you get stuck, and you get stuck for 2 3 4 days. It doesn't matter, you still go and play, right? And then someday it comes and you pass the level and go to the next level. So I believe this is the time in Candy Crush where we have got a hard level. We have to just stick to the base, pass the level, and sitting in at homes. I do not recommend anybody right now to go and venture into travel. Very soon, government is also taking a lot of measures to ensure that there are concepts available for tourism industry. Uh, Indian government still will be a little ahead. I mean, it will take some more time for them because they have more problems in hand. I'd like to give you an example of a concept called bubble tourism bubble. Tourism bubble is a concept which is created by Australia and New Zealand. What they are planning to do is in the Christmas season, New Zealand wants to invite the entire Australia to travel into New Zealand. New Zealand is almost at zero new cases right now, and
Right.
Australia also is almost reaching there in maybe 15, 20, 30 days, as they say, because their curve is at a decline. So I'm only giving you hope through the trend which I can see in the world, because maybe we don't have that trend currently, so we have to wait a little more so that we see our trend going downwards, and then we will also get these opportunities. But for the time being, what I can tell you is, government of tourism, government of Australia and government of New Zealand are working and talking to each other to ensure that they create a tourism bubble and enclosure of permeability between Australia and New Zealand only,
Right.
to ensure that the COVID-free people also get a quality travel experience.
Yeah.
So, it's not very far. It's only about patience. I think if we have some patience, I see very soon we will have a very good time. But it's a test of nerves. Please hold on to it, is what my request is right now.
Absolutely. No adventures of venturing out right now as soon as possible and all. Right. Speaking of adventures, right? When I personally know because of my interactions with a lot of the motorcycle groups as well as trekking groups and a lot of other small adventure boutique firms. A lot of my closer aides and everything and people in this industry of adventure travel are small boutique firms, right? As somebody who is from the other side, as somebody who knows the industry from a macro level, what do you think are their to-dos, or how can they come back and see and plan ahead in the current situation so that they can still keep their business going?
Right. So first of all, Corona is a great leveler. It is not looking at big, small, large, boutique, adventure, medical. Everyone is standing at the same platform right now.
Absolutely.
That is the first take which we should have, because uh, it's not like just because there is this pandemic which has come, the adventure tourism will take a hit. I think the people who are able to be quick on their feet, understand the safety, security, and the measures which need to be taken post COVID. Government has come out with its own advisory. There are some bodies who are also giving ideas on that. So keeping those in mind, all the people who are able to create and package those products will be the first people to take it. And as I said, cultural tourism, adventure tourism, village tourism, these are the kind of concepts which will evolve post Corona. In fact, more than a normal mass tourism, because here you are interacting with a smaller set of people, and your chance to contagion or exposure is reduced. And I believe that's why all the people in our adventure tourism should be very happy, at least motivated, to see that they will get a bigger share of the first people coming out of the post corona, post pandemic, when it all starts for tourism. They would be the first beneficiaries, I believe. Any boutique, why only thinking about adventure? All the small boutique, anybody who's doing village tourism, anybody who's looking at farm tourism, someone who's looking at just a resort which is very beautifully done, and they're looking at some medical therapies and all that. I think those kind of places where they are contained and can still deliver will have a better edge, or a larger say over the players who are doing mass tourism like a golden triangle.
Right, got it. So I think it's very hopeful in the sense that I'm sure that that's given a different kind of an outlook to what I believe, because from me I'm looking at it from a person who is actually experiencing that thing rather than from the other side of the coin where people are providing the service also, right? But for me, even after things may start opening up, there are certain question marks that still arise in my mind. Whether I should go, अगर मैं जाऊं तो मुझे क्या-क्या चीजों का ख्याल रखना चाहिए? What are the kind of precautions that are needed to be taken? As a traveler, what do I have to train myself or unlearn and learn something so that I keep myself and the people that I travel around with safer also?
Okay, so I think, as I said, the most important thing is we have to first stick to the government regulations which are there. I don't think we should skip that and try to do that adventure. Secondly, we don't need to talk about it. Basic hygiene has become so much taught. How to wash our hands, how to sanitize, how to keep this, social distancing, wearing a proper mask or proper gears, and this will actually have to be followed in letter and spirit, because when you are going out, any day you are exposed, whether you're going to take vegetable or you're going for a tourism activity, does not matter. So it is the same, till the time we get a green flag from our government that everything is all right, and then now it is almost contained, till such time. And India is a very large country, and the second largest population in the world, so we should be very cognizant of this fact. Apart from that, the trend which will change is how people are choosing services. You will see that a lot of people will choose services from certified agencies. I'll just give you a very small example. Now, once the pandemic is over and for the first dinner you want to go out with your family, where would you like to go? To a restaurant which has produced a certificate saying that, this is the Federation of Hotel and Restaurant Association of India. They have given me a clean sheet on all the norms to be followed for, post-pandemic, regulations. Or you would like to go to a place which has, which was your most favorite place, by the way. I'm not saying that it is a bad
Yeah,
food. Food must be the out of the world, but if they're not able to follow SOPs, you will still have that iota of doubt in your head. And I think if there is doubt, the idea is right now skip it. Even if there is a iota of doubt, just skip it. Go to the places which are more certified, likely to be safer. There is no 100% surety of where it can happen, but at least with method of elimination, you have to reduce the chances. That's very important. Now that is what will happen. I give you an example of a restaurant. That is what will happen with every tourism service provider,
right,
be
right.
it hotel, be it the transportation which you are going to choose, be it any location or adventure activity, or probably an excursion which you are choosing. If those places are likely to be seen as the places where you can maintain social distancing, where you can have those guidelines followed, then that is what will be followed first. So first important thing, stick to basics. Second, hygiene is important. Third, choose the places which are certified. And I think this is what we can do as a traveler when we step out.
Absolutely. So when it speak about certifications, Ravi, है कोई ये government bodies हैं या तो फिर industry bodies हैं who are going to give these certifications out? Are there real programs being run towards it, or at least awareness programs or something like that, which service providers can look up to and take the certifications if needed?
Absolutely, there are programs at all levels which are being run. FATE is the umbrella body under which FHRAI, Federation of Hotel and Restaurant Association of India, has created the entire SOP. For adventure tourism, the Adventure Tourism Association of India has created the SOPs, and they are training. So not only training, they are also doing inspections, and they are giving certifications. So that
Oh,
it is gone beyond just training. One thing is that they will train, and the government is working very closely with them. FASI is working very closely with government to ensure that all the food safety regulations are being taken care of. So all the bodies which are supposed to regulate these challenges are really very active right now. They are giving trainings, they are giving certifications, and they are doing checks and inspections to ensure that whatever certification is given to them is followed to the T, and not
Right.
just taken for once and then I have taken a certificate and I can just this is my free pass to heaven. It's not like that. So yes, to answer your question, uh, the bodies are very very serious to ensure that they are followed in letter and spirit.
Great. I think, as so there one thing is that everybody is going to look forward to certain measures in terms of what they do as travelers as well as service providers. The second thing, like you rightly said, is a whole lot of government bodies, others industry bodies being able to taking it seriously and helping people, hand holding them through this. But in spite of all these efforts, do you see any blind spots that are there from a travel perspective as well as also from a service provider or a traveler's perspective? Like over and above the points that we covered already, is there something else that we also need to look at?
So for any travel or tourism you know movement to happen, there are a lot of moving parts. I would not like to go on the hard side of it. On the softer side, sustainability, social distancing, of course, is very important right now, but the carrying capacity of a destination is very, very important. The blind spot will come when, everyone wants it to invite the customers to their hotel, but they don't realize that as a destination, it will have a carrying capacity. So that also will be created. The government is going to have a regulation on that also. Today, for example, Shimla invites more than 5 times of its carrying capacity in the peak period.
Right.
Probably that will go away now. That may not happen, but that is not an an individual's call. So I may be doing my sales and marketing activity to ensure that I get maximum number of traction on my property, but as a whole, if there is a gap, it will still remain. This is there are challenges and opportunities both. When we get into the grind, it is more important that we get into that whole thing. I want to talk about a very small thing, rather a story, which is it's a Zen story. The theme is obstacle is the way. There was a king in very olden days, and he started thinking that his uh, subject or people have become very entitled. And what happened? He was very dissatisfied with the way the normal public at large was behaving in his uh, kingdom. So
Right.
he made a very simple plan to check, if I do some changes in life, will these guys change? And what he did is he put a tree, a full tree, right bang on the entrance of the city. Now, what happened? What he wanted to know is, how will his people respond? What would be, what would they do to remove it? Will they actually do it, or will they go home and not do anything? And to his
Right.
despair, for the last 13, 14 days, he used to, in disguise, he used to be around somewhere watching that is someone changing that situation. To his disappointment, everyone saw someone will say, "Oh, the kingdom is so bad, the king cannot even remove a tree and move away." Someone will say, "It's my bad luck. What do I do? Now I can't cross the thing. I can't cross the path. I can't go ahead." One day, incidentally, a lone peasant came, and he was supposed to enter into the city because he had to sell his produce. And he knew that if he does not remove the tree, it was almost like a matter of life and death for him, because his children will go hungry if he does not remove the tree. So first
Right.
he tried to remove the tree on his own. Then he got some people to ensure that all of them come together and they help him remove the tree. And finally, once some of the people came, they also left. With whatever possible things, he removes the tree, and there was a purse of gold coins which was there under the tree. You know, so beneath that purse, there was a note, small note, and the note said, "The obstacle is the path. Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our conditions." So I believe that is what is very important right now. There will be obstacles when it comes to, or there will be blind spots when it comes to Corona. No, there is no standard SOP for a pandemic like this, because
Right.
last time we would have had it was 100 years back almost. So, and even if we write an SOP, probably 100 years later, nobody would be able to make any good use of it. So the idea is the obstacle is the way, Sanjeev. We have to look at how this obstacle is and how we can, spearhead and penetrate. All those people who will be going ahead of this obstacle will get the purse of gold coin. That is
Absolutely,
the
that's so
simple message we
positive.
should take.
I mean, we are all looking for to our own purses of gold coins. Let me
Absolutely.
just quickly take this question from the audience. I think we have already kind of answered it. But Swapna is asking 2 years from now, how much do you think it will be safe to travel in and around India? I think what she, you see, we have already established that things are going to brighten up and open up. But maybe what she is referring to is after 2 years, can we, do you think we can travel finally mask?
See, one thing I don't know is whether we'll have a vaccine after 2 years. At
Right.
least I'm reasonably confident with the kind of science and technology interventions we have that after 2 years we'll have a reasonable amount of cure for this. So looking at both the things, I think 2 years later is not a problem at all. In fact, if you ask me, and I don't want to give a timeline, but if you ask me, 6 months is the timeline. After 6 months, it will be free for all kind of a situation. It's just a matter of the next 6 months where we'll have to be careful. And probably,
Absolutely.
care is something which we should take all the time. uh, and something very interesting which comes to my mind by this question is, in our ancient days, why to ancient, when I was a child, when I will come from outside, the first thing I do is I remove my footwear outside the house. I have to walk in, straight away go to the bathroom, either wash my hands and feet and then get into the room, or take an entire shower, and then only I was going to get some kind of food or whatever is available. So this has always been with us. It's just that probably with the fast moving world we forgot it, and thanks to Corona we are just remembering it again. ऐसा भी कुछ नहीं बता रहे हैं. It's the same things which we were doing when we were children. We are going to do again. Just to take care of a little bit of precaution. That's all. And my timeline, if I have to put my neck to it, is 6 months only. It's not 2 years. 2 years is too long. अब मैं आपको 2 साल में चांद पे भी भेज पाऊंगा, ऐसा मुझे लगता है.
I think Elon Musk is already helping us do that.
Absolutely.
So yes, from a personal perspective, also traveling is very, it's an industry that people look up to. But also from a lot of corporate travel perspective, right? There are a lot of companies that depend on people traveling around, either globally or within the country itself. Now, as a company, or as somebody who takes care of employee travel within a company, what are some of the things that we need to really look at from a perspective of getting employees back on their travel itineraries? Because I
Okay.
think slowly as unlocking starts and people start becoming more and more active in the workplace also, this is bound to happen.
Sure.
Specifically if you
So I think I would like to take a step back from where you asked this question. For corporate, there are two kind of travel opportunities. One is the business travel, one is the MICE travel, or meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions.
right,
These are the two broader
right,
heads under which the corporate travel happens. See, for any of these to be indulged into, the biggest challenge is today the corporate should have a weaker balance sheet. Working capital is a bigger challenge today than travel. I am I mean, withstanding the challenge which Corona is posing, and anyways, we have to have social distancing, travel has to reduce, and we have to use social media. Thanks to that, we are today on this show and talking to all our viewers from, this platform. Why has this happened? This has happened only because of this. Otherwise, we would have loved to do it in a nice auditorium where we would invite 100 people or 200 people and talk, exchange views. So this was the norm maybe 2 years back. Now, why this is happening today is one of the reasons is this. So I see that large corporates will focus a lot on their cash flows, a lot on their balance sheets today, and that will not allow them to have very lavish travel programs. So the first thing to open up will be business travel before we talk about the incentive travel, MICE or exhibitions or conventions. individual business travel, which will happen first. And even for mice to happen, I think the way mice will happen in future will change. A lot of
Right.
technology intervention will come into picture. You will see a lot of virtual shows, virtual exhibitions, virtual meetings happening. I have seen a lot. All the leading mice operators of India have already started floating that in the market. They have got products which are virtual in nature, which will allow all your 100, 200, or 500 people to come on a platform. Obviously, I know for a fact that you can't give the touch and feel of physical interaction, but that will be the next best thing which is possible, which I see happening. This brings me to another interesting topic. Apart from mice, all the other large format challenge which we have is weddings in India. Indian weddings are very lavish, and
Yes.
that is not going to happen for a good period of time. That lavish wedding is not going to happen for a good period of time. If I have to sum up, the big fat Indian wedding will have to go for a diet right now. It is not possible for people to be gathered in 100, 500, or 1,000 capacities, purely
Right.
because of the distancing measures, but also because the kind of spend which we have to do for that, we need to consciously reduce it. We have to be very cognizant that we have to spend, carefully. So it holds good for the corporates, it holds good for the individuals also. So that's what I would say. Mice will happen, but majority of it may happen virtual, and large gatherings look like a little far-fetched thing today. I don't want to give a timeline here, but it will still happen way after the normal travel starts.
Absolutely. And in fact, मेरे मुझे तो ज्ञान भी है, 2-3 मेरे दोस्त हैं. In fact, a couple of people that I really know are getting married in this season, and they are doing it over Zoom. I mean, not the bride and groom, of course, but the Baratis are going to be joining on Zoom. But see, I mean, it's very interesting point that you touch upon technology, right? The fact that we are also speaking, we are able to do this Ask Me Anything session. We've done 23 till now. There are companies that are, the MICE providers, like you said, have gone to the virtual world. How and what are the other products and services within the tourism industry that have been affected by technology? And how can everybody, specifically the small as well as the big, and everybody in the industry can leverage this current trend that is coming?
So, actually, what you asked me is an entire subject for 1 hour. I'd like to try and be as brief as possible to ensure in paucity of time, because we will need to take a lot of questions also, is what I realize. So, just to very quickly brush up, what are the important ingredients of technology which are going to give a tadka to our tourism industry? Seamless payments are going to be the holy grail, and contactless is the most important piece. So today there are contactless touch cards have already come, but you will see more evolution in that space happening in very near future. Virtual reality will be a reality now in tourism industry. You will see a 360-degree content development happening on virtual reality. This also will serve as a teaser to the traveler who wants to actually see the destination later on. I don't see it as a substitute to travel, but I see it as a very good, appetizer. So you can actually get a touch and feel of the destination, and then probably you can choose as to what is the best for you. Uh, when actually you get an opportunity to travel, what would you like to choose? Artificial intelligence and machine learning will have a great impact. Redundancies will be reduced just by the machine. We will not have, I was just calling an airline because in the lockdown period I had a travel and I wanted to cancel it, and the message which it gave was you'll have to hold for 48 minutes. Now that is not a any customer's delight. And I don't
Absolutely.
blame anybody. I don't blame the airline, because it was a extraordinary situation. I don't see that situation coming every day, that all flights on earth everywhere cancelled. So I empathize with the airline. But what I'm trying to say is artificial intelligence and machine learning will help or will support this and will reduce the redundancies. The same answer which has to be given to 1,000 people can easily be done by that. So those kind of things you will see in very near future. you are already witnessing infrared scanning and
right,
things like that. Something very interesting which government of India has come up, Arogya Setu app. So I would like to call it a disruption management app. Because at the end of it, if there is some kind of disruption in any part of the world, the app can be intuitively be able to tell you that, hey, listen, this is not the right place for you to go. And Arogya Setu is an India level app. I think that kind of a technology or that kind of solutioning is happening across the world in bits and pieces, either by the government or by the private bodies. So that is a very interesting intervention which is happening in technology. Um, Robotics was, the earlier it was moving at a very fast pace, and the benefits and its applications were actually currently considered non-practical, because people said, "ठीक है, robotics is good, but it's non-practical." You will see physical robotics as well as virtual robotics coming into play at a much larger scale in the next 2 to 3 years, which this pandemic has catalyzed this growth, which probably we could have expected this growth in 10 years, but now it will happen in almost 3 years time. So I think these are some of the things. Sanjeev, as I said, this is a very, very long subject. I can keep talking
yes,
on and on
yes,
because I'm a fintech follower, and this is my favorite subject. But I believe we have to, kind of curtail to this. So what I see is
sure,
uh, contactless offerings, seamless payments, and as far as possible, uh, giving a smooth transition on the online platform is what is required currently to ensure that lesser human to human intervention happens. I'm not saying that this will reduce the number of manpower in the industry. The manpower which was actually going on interacting with people will have to go behind the scene and help run these models, is what I'm saying.
right, right. So the interesting, you touched upon very interesting anecdote of your experience with that airline, right? And that brings me to a point because we are all looking at now the airlines slowly opening up their operations, the hotels are kind of opening up. Uh, is as a traveler, it puts me in a point where I'm looking at maybe I should maybe these service providers will be trying to uh, charge the higher rates than before. So from a perspective of from an industry perspective now, just from an industry perspective, do you think this is something that the consumer needs to be worried about right now as we slowly speak about unlocking ourselves and maybe in the 6 to 8 months down the line we'll start traveling more.
Sure. So maybe 8 months down the line will be a very, very different scenario. But let me just start from today.
Sure.
If you see today, the price of air turbine fuel is almost lesser than half of what it was 2 months back, which
Right.
means the airlines have got that benefit. Now I
Right.
know that government will have some kind of distancing norms and the number of people who can travel on a flight. So this will be balanced by that, and I still feel that the cost per traveler per sector will be lesser than what it was pre-COVID period. So I don't see, the way it is that it will rise. In fact, let me take this to the hotels also. All the hotels, the large format five-star hotels and the boutique nice properties, which used to invite a lot of foreign tourists. So there were 10 million inbound customers who used to come. So those 10 million are going to be absent this year, right? Because it will not open so fast. That inventory is available, and that inventory will go to Indian customers. Now, when that large, huge inventory goes to Indian customers, you can always see packaging done in a nice manner, maybe pay for two and stay for three kind of concepts coming. Five-star hotels trying to capture the market share of four-star properties and give that pricing advantage so that even if the customer is looking at, he would be happy to go for a bigger brand and stuff like that. So it will be like a chain. The five stars will like to offer a four-star pricing, four stars will like to offer a three-star pricing, and so on and so forth. The idea is that everyone would is in a dire need of customers.
Right.
So either from an airline perspective or from the hotel perspective, I don't see the pricing going up. In fact, the prices will go down, And some of you who would have seen the industry for a longer period of time, when Jet Airways started this, with a couple of hotels in Goa, they started a standardized package. So they will say, pay this much, I'll give you my flight as well as 3 nights stay in Goa. That was the biggest hit, and that I'm talking of 2000, 2001, 2002. Those days, it gave so much of customers to Jet Airways. They didn't, never in past, never in future they got that kind of traction. I am saying all the airlines and hotels will come to these kind of marketing and packaging strategies to ensure that they can move forward in the market. So
Great.
customer is the winner right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the exact same thing, that it looks like customer is still going to be the king, like always. And if and it's very interesting that you brought out the point that all those inventories that are now open, which will be now open for Indian consumers. That means that a lot of new ways of marketing, a lot of new ways of messaging. What is it there? What is it that offering these, offering us as Indian consumers will change. So what do you think are the new trends that will come across in digital marketing as well?
So in marketing, we spoke about destination videos. Destination videos will become a norm because people will try to give teasers through them. I have got a friend, in fact, a LinkedIn friend, I would say, who has created a small product called Unscripted Life. Unscripted Life is, cartoon characters taking kids to the mystery land, and every episode, like Chota Bheem, every episode they cover a small, an entire destination. Now, this is a very unique way of getting in touch with your customer. Right now, for a fact, you know that you can't sell your customer or tell your customer to go to Singapore. But can you reach out to him and give him a comic book which talks about Singapore? It increases curiosity. Comics will anyways go and increase curiosity in a child, but everyone has some amount of child inside them, right? So it is for
Yes.
practically everyone who can think of. So that's something unique. Many players have, because of pricing challenges or whatever, they have stopped social media marketing. I believe social media marketing is something which will take uh, a larger share of marketing budgets this year, because physical marketing or OTT or probably going in the mainstream media will be very expensive, and no, the budgets are shoestring. So social media marketing is the going to be the trend or the way forward for the time being. Innovative ideas will come and to present and keep that engagement on, because see, till the time you're not selling some destination to the customer, you have to be in front of him. Out of sight is out of mind in any industry. Travel is anyways a discretionary industry. So travel spends are discretionary. You don't spend on travel deciding कि 10 साल पहले डिसाइड किया था कि ये मैं ट्रैवल के लिए स्पेंड करूंगा. वो बेटी की शादी के लिए होता है, घर खरीदने के लिए होता है, कार खरीदने के लिए हो सकता है. Travel is not like that. So you have to be on top of that recall. And that's why what I see in marketing, what we will see now is more interactive marketing will happen. Gamification is already happening in
Yeah.
the customer interventions, and that is ensuring that the customer is engaged to some extent with the company. People will also look at how they change their sales strategy. Make My Trip has become a Swiggy of 5-star hotels. So Make My Trip has launched a product where they want to deliver the best 5-star food to your doorsteps.
Right.
Now, why do I have to get into that business? One, of course, everybody is yearning to go for a nice food experience. Indians are foodies, let's accept that fact. Secondly, I am getting an opportunity to enter into your house probably every week or twice, in a month, by this kind of an intervention, which was not possible if I was just looking at, sending brochures and flowers and destination pamphlets. So, there will be more innovative ideas which will come as to how I can keep connected to my customer, and all the people, all the entities which are using this string will survive post this pandemic period, and will be able to have a greater bonding, a very very strong bonding with the customer. So first is innovative ideas, and the second is social media will become the king. Marketing on social media platforms will become the king. It will no longer remain two full-page ads on the front page of Times of India. I love Times of India, but nothing against them. But the budget constraint will not allow that to happen.
Absolutely, I think, and interesting terminologies like you rightly said, somewhere earlier also, like bubble tourism, revenge tourism, and so many things are already coming up from a perspective of even coining something that is catchy enough from the marketing perspective also, right? And I'm sure you would have come across many more of these kind of terminologies.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
you Can you share some interesting anecdotes with us?
I think I would like to share one which is very interesting: quarantine tourism.
Oh, yes,
So
I've heard of that.
yeah, so government of Himachal Pradesh wants to get into this, venture into this, where they say that if you want to be quarantined, get quarantined in the most beautiful valleys of Himachal. That is going to be more enriching and soul filling than just getting quarantined in your house or wherever you want. So yeah,
I have to agree with them.
every time a large change will come, new things will be coined up. And we can look at many such things. Social distancing is a word which I did not know before 2-3 months. I don't think anybody of us knew that. Forget about terms. Sanitizer. I have seen my wife keeping a sanitizer in her uh, you know lady's purse, but I don't think I ever used a sanitizer in my life. you know at max we used to wash hands. That's what we did. So a
Right.
lot will change, including the terminologies, including the lifestyles, including the way we are going to think, behave, and probably perform post COVID. So interesting times, interesting learnings is what I would say.
Absolutely, and I mean, the entire scenario that I look at when in this interaction is that things are one going to shape up for sure. The
Yeah, yeah.
timelines, and in fact, there is a lot of steps that as a consumer that we can take and as service providers can take to ensure that that level of confidence is met. There are industry bodies that are shaping up for what comes, how to slowly start opening up. You know the various services that are there. The new and interesting packaging of products. There are new and interesting tourism inventories that are available for me as a consumer. So many good things to take away from this discussion. Anything uh, that you would want to add as a last and a final takeaway from this entire discussion for our audience?
Sure. I mean, very short and sweet. I would like all my viewers to remember one thing: this world at large is still an animal kingdom. You know, in animal kingdom, what happens when the harsh winters come? All those animals go for hibernation.
Right.
Post hibernation, when they come back, they are leaner and they are hungrier. So that is what my message to all of you is. This is hibernation period in my animal kingdom of COVID. We will come out of this leaner and hungrier, and that is how we will survive. That is how we will have our take at the world. And tourism, as I said in the beginning also, tourism is not going to be a loser in the long run. It's only in the short and medium term that they will have some hiccups. So that's my message to you and all the viewers who are watching us today.
Absolutely. Thank you. And like you said, it's just a speed breaker. So all of you out there, go slow on the speed breaker. Don't put your foot on the accelerator. Ravi, you had shared, I know you put your final thoughts, but I would really want the viewers to listen to that one poem that you had told me, one when we were discussing a couple of days earlier, right? And I think that should be a perfect end to the talk that we are having to leave the audience with that.
So I'll just say a couple of lines. हम
Sure, sure.
पंछी उन्मुक्त गगन के पिंजर बद्ध न गा पाएंगे, कनक तीलियों से टकराकर निर्मल पंख टूट जाएंगे. तो ये हम पंछी जो है, इंसान जो है, वो एक उन्मुक्त है, और किसी भी तरीके के, भले सोने का ही पिंजरा हो, उसमें कभी भी बंद नहीं सकता है. सो हमारे पंख टूट जाएंगे अगर हम इस पिंजरे में बंधे रहेंगे. इसीलिए हम कुछ ही दिनों में इस पिंजरे से बाहर निकल जाएंगे. Hold your foot
Absolutely.
till the time we come out. That's all
Yes.
we can wish. I wish all your viewers a very safe and healthy time when they are in self quarantined at home. Venture out as less as you can and ensure that safety and health for you and your loved ones. That's what I would say. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you. That brings us to the end of this thing, and I'm very sure that all of you had beautiful takeaways from Ravi. Ravi, once again, thank you for your time, and we'll see you guys on the next talk. Bye bye.
Thank you.